Let's talk about schedules. I get questions like this on a regular basis, and I think schedules are very tricky because we are pulled in so many different directions on a daily basis. And at the same time, if we do not take control of our time and our calendars, we are going to get run into the ground in the real estate business. And I used to think that time blocking was really restrictive until I had to make a mindset shift that time can be blocked for anything and it should be blocked for everything. Because if you don't have blocks in your schedule for work and for personal life, somehow the time will pass anyways and you won't accomplish what you need to for your real estate business. So, what I like to do is plan my week out on Sundays. At some point on a Sunday, even if it's 7 o'clock at night, I will map out my non negotiables for the week. And my non negotiables on a daily basis are following up with my database, making sure that deadlines are met within contracts, making sure that I am filming content. I have my social media content written out for the week. I know exactly what I have to do on a daily basis to keep my business moving forward. And within that, I also leave gaps in my schedule for downtime, gaps in my schedule to take the dogs for a walk. Everything is an appointment in my calendar. And when you are a new agent, what I recommend doing is taking at least 2 weeks where every single day you are documenting where your time is going, because it's kind of like a financial budget. Until you know where your money is going, you don't know what you're working with. And time is so precious. I think that I spent at least 4 to 5 years in the real estate business before I really started to value my time the way that I should. And that's a mistake that I would avoid with your schedule at all costs. Time is the only resource that we can't get back. We can't make more of it. We can't make it slow down. And as agents, at least for me, when I first started out, I was so focused on becoming successful and having consistent closings that I was working from 7 a.m. in the morning to 11, 12 o'clock at night. And that's not to say that I was productive all of those hours, but I was busy. I was putting in the work. And it reached a point where I realized that it wasn't sustainable. So I really started to look at where I have the most energy and the most focus, and I structure my day based off that. And that's not going to be the same for everyone. The other thing that you need to focus on when you are working on determining what your schedule is going to look like is who you are as a person. For me, I am sharpest and most focused in the mornings. And I get up early. I'm not saying that I like getting up early. I don't really like getting up early, but I do like that the rest of the world is very quiet first thing in the morning. And that's when I can knock out my most important task and get the most amount of focus work done. One, because I don't have a bunch of distractions, but two, because that's when I am sharpest. And my schedule has evolved in the past couple of years because of the chronic pain factor in my life. As the day goes on, my pain gets worse and I've had to adjust because of that. But I spend my mornings, I do not get on my phone for the first hour that I'm awake. Absolutely no screen time. That's my time to write down what I'm grateful for. It's my time to get the dog situated, to go outside and take in some natural light, to have my coffee, and then I will jump on tasks that need to be taken care of. I do not get on email first either because email is such a distraction. And I recognize that I have to be responsive. That's the business that we're in, and be on email and text, but I start that later in the day. I don't typically start responding to emails or texts until 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And I spend my mornings keeping in touch with my database, which for me is just very conversational and laid back. It's not checking in with them to ask them if they're interested in buying or selling or know someone who does. I don't recommend that at all. And it comes very naturally for me. I enjoy those conversations. I enjoy keeping in touch with my clients. And then from there, what I will do is get on social media and respond to all of my direct messages. That's going to be a mix of conversations with clients, again, very laid back and casual in nature. And then it's also messages from new agents who have questions about content, growing their business, a variety of topics. My DMs always get taken care of first. Then from there, I will go ahead and go through any comments that have come in on my content. Then after that, I like to go ahead and make sure that all my transactions are where they need to be. Most of the time, I can keep a running tally of that in my head. I think because I've just been doing this so long, but it's all bulleted out in my calendar so that I always know exactly when deadlines are approaching. And I do have a TC that handles things in a much more detailed level than I do, but I personally still like to keep track of my transactions so that I know if I need to jump in on something. If I have a listing coming up, I spend the morning researching content to make sure that I can map out a storyboard for the media that I'm going to be doing for the listing. Then after that, it's time for me to knock out all the emails, catch up on any type of responses that I need to take care of. And then I get ready for the day and I head out to walk the dogs. Walking the dogs is kind of my morning break. I typically do it anywhere between 9 and 10, just depending on what I had going on that morning. I personally like to schedule my appointments late morning, anywhere to late afternoon. This could include showings, it could include listing appointments, meeting an appraiser, home inspections, anything that I'm out in the field for. I like to have happen later in the day. Does that always happen? No. Sometimes I have to adjust. But when you're making your schedule, focus on what your average day is going to look like. And as long as that is the case, the majority of the time, then you will be just fine. And I don't like to schedule, even if I'm doing a Zoom with a buyer consultation or a seller consultation, I typically don't like to schedule those until later in the afternoon because that puts me back home at a reasonable hour. And the reason for that in my life is that the pain gets so bad towards the end of the day that one, I am not super sharp and on, and I can do a buyer or a seller consultation in my sleep at this point. And two, I'm inside, I'm comfortable where I am at home. I can stand for the Zoom consultations, I can sit if I need to. It gives me more flexibility within my home. And this is really going to come down to your obligations in your personal life. And that is equally as important as your obligations in your business. So when you are structuring your day, not only do you need to think about how you run optimally as a human, but you also need to think about what your obligations are in your life in general. Maybe you need to pick up the kids from school. Maybe you need to take the kids to school. Maybe you have an elderly parent that you help and you need to factor that into your schedule. I truly don't think there is a right or wrong for your schedule. I just think that you 100% need a schedule. That is a big mistake that I see. I wouldn't even say just new real estate agents. Real estate agents in general seem to forget that you're running a business and a business has business hours and a schedule. You will not catch me responding to client communication after 7 o'clock unless it's a situation where I'm actively working an offer or there's an offer deadline and I need to get an offer submitted. Of course, I'm absolutely going to be available in those situations. But on an average day, when I'm not under any type of set deadline, I'm not going to be conducting business after that. I may respond to texts here and there, but my clients know that my cutoff is 7 p.m. And I stick to that in a more strict manner than I ever have before in the past couple of years because one, my body needs to rest, and two, my mind does too. My mind spends so much energy managing pain that by the end of the day, I'm just completely shot. I don't have anything left to give. And I know that it's important to recharge so that I can show up the next day. And when you're making your schedule, please don't forget that you are responsible for leaving gaps in your schedule for your personal life. And that means self-care too. It could be for you to go to the gym. It could be for you to for a walk, to get your nails done, to get your hair cut, to go grocery shopping. Whatever it is that you need to take care of in your life should be in your schedule. Because if it's not, I promise you, work will have a way of seeping in. And I cannot tell you how many times I have made that mistake. I also, for the most part, unless I am really close with my clients and we've had an ongoing relationship for years, everything is an appointment. If I am scheduling to show houses and I have blocked that evening because I'm going to call my parents, this is just an example, then if my clients were going to decide when we can coordinate that we're both available and I'm calling my parents at 5 o'clock, then I've got an appointment at 5 o'clock. And you do not owe anyone an explanation for what that appointment is. It's simply an appointment. And you all know I don't believe in work-life balance. And I want to be clear that my schedule does not always shake out the way that an average day would. And that's okay. I have no issues with that. There are some days where I have not checked email or responded to clients in an afternoon because I needed a couple hours to recharge, or I needed to lay down just briefly because the pain was getting the best of me. And there's other times where I put in a 15-hour day because the market is moving so fast and I've got to get offers reviewed with my sellers and I've got to work on those offers to strengthen the price and the terms, etc. And it bled into 9, 10 o'clock at night. It happens. And that's part of what we sign up for as real estate agents. But if that's happening every single day and that's become your norm, that is a problem. At the end of the day, you're still running a business, and there is professionalism and power in having business hours. Those hours need to be communicated upfront to your clients so that you set those expectations. And if you get to a point in your business where you're finding that you are consistently putting in these obsessively long days, maybe it's time to get some support in your business. That's a conversation for down the road. Bottom line, my top tips for your schedule are determining when you are going to be sharpest and most focused so that you can schedule your most important task during that time. And then from there, filling in with showing houses, running appointments, managing your transactions, whatever it is that you need to be doing to work on your business. There's a difference between working in your business and working on your business. And it can be a delicate balance in real estate because we really are pulled in so many different directions and we wear so many different hats. But if you are blocking your schedule appropriately and sticking to that, which will be difficult in the beginning, I definitely struggled with it. But once you get that rhythm going, you will become so much more focused because you know exactly what you need to be doing when you need to be doing it. And you're not going to be jumping from one task to the next and then getting distracted and doing all of this multitasking that is really not the best use of your time. So if you're just starting out, best tip that I have for you is track your time, figure out where it's going, and then work on your schedule from there so that you're able to structure it in a way that is the most efficient for who you are as a person and your current lifestyle and the needs for your personal life. I hope you got some value from this. If you're having trouble figuring out what your schedule should be, drop me a comment below. I'm always happy to offer tips and advice. As long as you're thinking about a schedule and you're working on putting one in place, you are ahead of a lot of real estate agents out there who are just flying by the seat of their pants. Until I see you on the next one, thanks for watching.